Hello and welcome back to my Fantasy Premier League channel. I'm FPL Unit, and today you are here for Game Week 18 Differentials. Now, this is a double upload day, and I am trying to keep it as quick as possible because there is a short turnaround between Game Week 17 finishing and the start of Game Week 18. My voice is still a little bit hoarse from going to the football on the weekend. So I've seen two games live, and what's more to get into? Let's get into the differentials for game week 18. Alrighty, so how important are the fixture runs at the moment of Crystal Palace, who we need to be aware of? They look like they've got a really nice run of fixtures over the next 5-6 weeks. Arsenal, still pretty good there. They did concede the one goal against Crystal Palace on the weekend. That was frustrating. Bournemouth still look really good. They obviously beat Man United 3-0, kept the clean sheet. And Hoyson, who looks like a very popular option, is going to be featuring in this video quite heavily. He looked good again, and it's such a cheap option. It's hard not to recommend. Chelsea still have that sea of green, even though they were disappointing from an attacking perspective on the weekend. Liverpool, their defence were a little bit off-put, kind of fell asleep, but they've got a really nice two fixtures the next 2 weeks. Man City, well, one win in 12 games, but we are going to talk about some of their assets today. Newcastle, they look amazing. They've been really good. Isaac in particular, unbelievably good. Nottingham Forest, need to keep your eye on them. They are doing Nuno Espirito things, and I really like what I'm seeing from them. Southampton, not 100% sure with that. And look, popular assets, do you move them on if they aren't performing? Now, on the weekend, obviously, I had Bruno Fernandes and Ahmad starting as two of my midfield five. I then had Cole Palmer and Bakary Saka. None of them got a return. Like, that's just frustrating from a perspective of you're expecting them to do something. Now, do you replace them? And are Ahmad and Enzo now still the best cheap options? Well, today we're going to dive into that, but we're not going to waste too much time on the goalkeepers and stuff like this, mainly because of the fact that in reality, it's just not worth that. It's not worth the hassle. Not worth the hassle at all. So let's get into the fixture difficulty rating as it looks over the coming game weeks. All right. So as you can see here, Arsenal still have that pretty good run. They've now changed Brentford to a red team, number 4, when you're playing them at home. Doesn't make much sense to me. Nottingham Forest went there. I just think that they haven't played that good of a team at home yet. And the first one they came up against, it's probably pretty good. They lost. So just something to keep in mind. I wouldn't be too worried about that fixture moving forward. So Bournemouth, as I said, next 3 weeks still look really good. They obviously did super well, much better than I expected against Manchester United, which was unfortunate considering I went to the game on Sunday and Man United were bad. But it is what it is. There's not too much more you can expect at this particular moment in time. So we just got to roll with it for now. Crystal Palace, as you can see there, they are the team to look at. Bournemouth, Southampton, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham United, Brentford at home. They just look really good on paper. It's something you need to keep in mind. Now, Fulham also coming into that really nice run of fixtures. Whoops, other than Chelsea this game week. But Castagna is an option you need to be aware of. At 4.2, he has come in because of the fact that Tete is likely to be out for the next 8, 9, 10 weeks. So he looks like a really good option. And if I hadn't already bought in Robinson prior to this news coming out, I probably would have gone with Castagna and saved 0.6 mil. So that's something to keep in mind. I think Robinson's now up to 4.9 as well. Man City, as we can see there, they do have this amazing run of fixtures the next 5 weeks. Everton home, Leicester away, West Ham home, Brentford away, Ipswich away. Oh my God, my voice is dying. So yeah, as you can see there, not too bad. Newcastle still have a nice little run of fixtures there. I wouldn't be too worried from an attacking perspective. Defensive assets, I don't think I'll be going there the next couple of weeks. Spurs are a hit and miss team. You really don't know where you're going to get there. And Southampton do have an easier run, but look, no one's really going there at the moment. And as you can see there, Wolves fixture run now. They've got the new manager bounce, but can they keep it going against Man United at home? You wouldn't bet against them, but you just can't go back there, I don't think. All right, on to the actual options for this week. So goalkeepers, as I said, Dubravka looked really good. However, I don't think you buy him this week. The only two that you really should be looking at, I believe, are Henderson from Crystal Palace. He looks really good. The habit of conceding a goal every game, but he has kept a few clean sheets, 55 points for the season. And they do have that nice run of fixtures coming up. Bournemouth away, Southampton home, Chelsea home, Leicester away, West Ham away, Brentford home, Man United away, Everton at home, Fulham away, Villa at home, Ipswich at home. Like, that's a pretty good run of fixtures. And if you just want to save the money and just go for someone cheaper, he's definitely the one. Now, from here, A. Becker is the next one that you need to be aware of. So, he is 5.4. He's up to 5.9% ownership. But Liverpool now have a nice, really nice run of fixtures. And you would expect him to start keeping some clean sheets. So, yeah, next two in front of you, Leicester at home, West Ham away. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, I'm not going to cover all the defensive defended differentials that I've got on here because I've covered a lot of them over the last couple of weeks. However, I am going to cover the new ones that you need to be aware of. So again, Milinkovic there from Forest looks like a good option. Payne is now the top scoring defender in the game at 5 mil, but he's 15.9% ownership, so he doesn't really count as a differential anymore. Ashley Young, again, by the way, he didn't play on the weekend because he did play. But he's now going to be suspended because he picked up his 5th yellow card of the season. So he's actually going to be out this week. But after the City game, he looks really good. Like Everton's defensive data has been so good. He's definitely someone that's definitely worth a look. Now going down, as I said, Hall's still a great option. Timber's still a great option. Milienko's even a good option. But Munoz now comes into this category. He obviously is back from suspension this week. His underlying data for the season is incredible as well. And that's someone, like, look at that run of fixtures. And his attacking output is just so good for a defender. So 0.18 expected goals, 0.05 expected assists across the season. That is good underlying data, suggesting that he's going to continue getting attacking returns. I really like him. 4.7. It'd be nice if he was closer to 4.5, but he's still a great option. Everyone should be staying away from Man United defenders, by the way. Moving down the list, onto the next page, we have Castagna, who's obviously not going to be on this list, and neither is Huijsen. Oh, there we go. Huijsen. He's moved up the charts over the last few weeks. So he has, since he came into the team, he's got 29, 33 points in the last 4 weeks since he's been starting, with 2 massive hauls there of 14 and 15. Look, there's not much to not like here. Bournemouth's underlying data is pretty good, and he's offering you 0.14 expected goals, 0.06 expected assists across the season. So he gets near it, and he's a giant. Being there at the game on the weekend, he is a big lad, and there's a reason why he keeps on getting anything. 0.9% ownership as well. If there's a Bournemouth player that isn't Kirkes, that's the one you probably want in your teams moving forward. Now, the other one, I'm just going to type this on in because it's going to be too hard to find him otherwise. So Castagna, 4.2 million, 1.1% ownership. Ahmed, who's leading the league in our league, he brought him in prior to this week, rock double Fulham defense, worked out stupidly well. He got 12 points from both. So he actually had 0.14 expected assists in the game against Southampton as well. So he was unlucky there not to get some sort of an attacking return as well, which then would have given him some bonus points because he had 26 bonus point system here. Not too bad. But yeah, as you can see here, he has been obviously a minute's risk because Tete has been playing. But now that Tete is out, the data's not really there because he's barely played this season. But I think that realistically, he is going to be a bit like Robinson just on the other side. And the way Fulham play, their underlying data is pretty good. They have kept a number of clean sheets. So he's definitely someone that's worth a look at 4.2. I'd actually probably put him in front of Anderson, who is still not fit He didn't play against Southampton, which was frustrating for people that moved there. But I just think when you're comparing the both of them, the Castagna's going to be better. He's going to be getting up and down that wing, probably putting in crosses. Whereas Anderson's data for the season is 0.03 expected goals, 0.01 expected assists. And he's been playing most of the season. He used to have a much better goal threat when he played for Palace. I'm not sure why it's dropped off so much at Fulham. But yeah, again, he's definitely the one that is the least one I would be looking at. So midfielders. There are a bunch of midfielders here to consider. Saka obviously is going to be out. There's no way that he's going to be playing on Boxing Day. Can't see it on the day after, whenever it is. It might be Friday, actually, because Boxing Day is Thursday. I'm pretty sure they got the Friday fixture. He looked like he did his hammy, and he looked like he did it well. I just can't see him getting up. Yeah, I just can't see it. Awobi's still a pretty good shout. Fulham have that nice run of fixtures. Morgan Rogers was amazing, by the way, on the weekend. 19.6% ownership. Lots of people sold him and then missed out on that 14 points. His underlying data is stupidly good still. So just keep that in mind. 0.22 expected goals, 0.17 expected assists. It's good. It's good data. Now, obviously, Maddison, you do have to be aware of Maddison. Now, he has returned in the last 3 weeks with an assist and 3 goals. And the underlying data for Maddison across the season is 0.36 expected goals, 0.36 expected assists per 90 minutes. Like when he's actually on the field, and that is the problem, he has become a little bit of a minutes risk. Obviously, there against Chelsea, only in game week 15, he started on the bench. But his data is so good, 8.8% ownership. It's hard to recommend Tottenham assets, but I think he is probably the one based on the data and how many returns we can probably expect from him. Lots of people talking about Brennan Johnson. I'm not sure that Brennan Johnson is the right one. I think if you're going into that bracket, you are better off going to Kulusevski. He seems to be more nailed in terms of starting, and he generally plays 90 minutes. Ange really seems to love him as well. Obviously, he scored against Liverpool, scored against Southampton, scored against Chelsea. His underlying data for the season is less than Maddison's, so 0.16 expected goals, 0.19 expected assists. But it's definitely a position that you could go to quite confidently. Like, he's not a bad option. I don't mind him at all. Anthony Gordon still looks amazing. Has back-to-back 6-pointers for him. No massive holes, but hopefully they'll come. He's been very consistent, though, the last 5 weeks. Other than the game where he started on the bench against Brentford, he's returned in every one of the other 4. So he's another one. 9.3% ownership, really good price. Lots of people sold Semenyo. I get why people did it, but the underlying data has been there the last couple of weeks. He just hasn't got a return. And obviously he scored against Man United. So the run of fixtures they've got coming up as well suggests the next 3 weeks he's likely to return. So he's not a bad punt at 5.6 mil. Damsgaard as well also had some of the best attacking data on the weekend. Like 0.15 expected goals, 0.17 expected assists, 5 mil, dirt cheap. As I said, he's returned a lot this season, and he does take up really good positions in the box. Now, someone that has crept up is Ismail Sarr. So I talked about him briefly last week with that 17 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. And then I looked at his data and I thought, he should be getting more than what he has got across the season. So he had 0.47 expected goals for his goal against Arsenal. Also had 0.1 expected assists, and he did miss some big chances, I felt, in that game, or like decent openings, should we put. So 0.32 expected goals, 0.22 expected assists per 90 minutes this season. Like, the data is there for him. I think he's just been massively underperforming it based on the points he's got compared to some other players. 1% ownership, though, he might actually be the best budget enabler this week. Maybe. The other one, the one other person I want to talk about here, Luis Diaz, some people going back there. I just think that he's too much of a minutes risk. 15.5% ownership. He's actually dropped below his starting price now. That's mad. But he's somewhere you could go to. He's got obviously 2 goals against Tottenham. I mean, it is Tottenham though. I feel like against the other, the problem is you don't know if he's going to start every game. And I feel like he probably starts on the bench either against Leicester or West Ham, which turns me off going for him. So Jota as well is also back. I think he started on the bench, so we'll just double check that. So yeah, 1 point, came on for 22 minutes. You just couldn't go there. It's too much of a risk. I think when he's fit, he probably starts, but at the moment he's not starting. So for me, I just don't like it. And then another one that we need to be aware of as well, Jacob Murphy. Now, I had Jacob Murphy for 5.5 at the very start of the season, expecting him to do what he has done the last 3 weeks. So he's got 2 assists against Brentford, 2 goals against Leicester, and now he's got a goal and an assist against Ipswich. I mean, he has taken full advantage of the easier run of fixtures there. He's done Isaac level types of quality. So look, he's a massive, massive differential. I love it as well. If it wasn't for the fact that I feel like they've got slightly harder teams the next 3 weeks, I'd probably look at bringing him in. 4.9 million he's going to cost you. 1.3% ownership. He might actually be the best budget enabler in the game. Now, if we have a look at his data across the season as well, where are we? Go down here and have a look. 0.2 expected goals, 0.24 expected assists. Like it's nothing to laugh at. The problem has been the minutes. But the last 4 weeks, he's been getting them. So I'm not sure if that's going to continue. I hope it does because he looks like a really good option out there. And he's just so cheap. I just really love him as a cheap enabler. I don't think there's nothing much more to say about him in regards to that, just other than the fact that he looks like a really good option moving forward. Now, the other one we need to be aware of here is Phil Foden. Now, people are going to say you're an idiot. Yes, I might be an idiot. But Phil Foden's underlying data has actually been pretty good across the season. So it's 0.22 expected goals, 0.35 expected assists. He's massively underperformed, as has Man City. But the fixtures staring you right in the face suggest that we need to have a look at what he's doing and whether we should be bringing him into our teams. Because I feel like potentially we should be. So yeah, that's definitely someone that I think you should be looking at. I think he's a great differential. If there's a punt and you want to move on from Saka and get someone that's going to be about the same price point, Foden looks pretty good. Now, if we have a look at De Bruyne, the only reason why I'm not suggesting De Bruyne is the fact that I think realistically he's too much of a minutes risk. So he didn't play obviously against Aston Villa at all. I'm pretty sure he was just sat on the bench. It'd be nice to know if you thought he was going to start. It's just unfortunate. It's Kevin De Bruyne's in like one of them weird places at the moment where it's just not worth going. Now Odegaard also looks really good here. The fact that Saka's going to be out, a lot more creativity is going to have to come down to him, which makes me think, I know he's done nothing the last 4 weeks from an attacking perspective, but I feel like he's going to have to pick up the slack from Saka, and he could be a good option as an alternative to keep your Arsenal player. I'm not sure. But yeah, again, he's another one where you sit there and go, oh, that could be good, but I'm just not sure if it's a place where I would want to go at the moment. Now, another couple of players I need to aware of. Kudos obviously returned on the weekend for West Ham, but their run of fixtures from here is not the best. They've obviously got Southampton this week, which looks beautiful on paper. It is away though, but then it gets a bit more trickier. Like Liverpool and Man City, that's difficult. They might score against Man City, to be fair, but 0.31 expected goals, 0.14 expected assists. He's actually a pretty good option. And the other one that we do need to be aware of, with Crystal Palace's run and fixtures coming up, it is likely he'll be fine because it was just a swollen foot and probably just needed the extra time to recover. But I expect Eze to be back in for the Bournemouth game. Now, Bournemouth's defence is not bad, but it's not good. It's a bit middling. But then obviously the Southampton home fixture in game week 19 just looks delicious. And Eze at 7.1% ownership. He's obviously well below his starting price now as well, where he started at 7 mil for the season. I really like him as a lower rated midfielder. Just someone to keep an eye out on. Now let's go to the forwards. And we're going to finish off there. We're going to rattle through these pretty quickly because there's only really a couple I want to talk about. Erling Haaland. Now, You could get rid of Saka and reinvest the money back into your forward line, maybe for a Nicholas Jackson. I mean, I was contemplating this myself. I still think bringing him in for 14.8 mil, considering his run of form, is just way too risky. However, the run of fixtures don't lie, and this is a kind of run where we could see an Erling Haaland triple hat trick. So I don't know. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on. That's all I'm going to say on that. He is only owned by 35% of the comp now. In comparison, Isaac is about to overtake him 34.9 as of recording this video. That's mad. Chris Wood, I don't mind. He had another couple of good opportunities on the weekend. Dominic Solanke, I can't recommend Tottenham assets, but he's under 10% ownership. He does continue to tick along. It's just not big scores that he gets. Even a goal and assist, he still only gets 9 points. No bonus points on the system. He was just unlucky. On another week, he gets something there. Like, it's a good return. I'm not sure on him. Compared to Jackson, compared to Isaac, I don't know. Vardy Party's still looking all right. Kai Havertz, obviously, as I said, someone's going to have to pick up the slack for Saka. 7.9 million, almost 10% ownership now. He scored again on the weekend against Palace. Nothing on the bonus point system. He got 1 bonus point, sorry. Lied. Fixtures look okay. Like, the Brentford game shouldn't be a red. I don't know why they've changed that to a red. Like, I don't mind the next 5-6 weeks. Maybe 7, 8, 9. I don't know. It just depends on whether you want the Arsenal defence or not. But if you don't want the Arsenal defence, then I quite like a shot on Kai Havertz. Gabco's still worth a look, potentially, if you want to go there. Darwin, ditto. For the one that I really want to talk about is Gabriel Jesus. Now, I think he's going to benefit, 3% ownership. I think he's going to benefit from not having Saka available because that opens up another attacking spot in the team. And it's hard to leave out a man that's got 5 goals in the last week and an assist. Like, I don't think he's going to go 2 goals and an assist every game, but with Ipswich up next, it could definitely be worth a shout. Now, I'm now thinking he's got 0.47 expected goals, 0.04 expected assists across the season. The problem is he's been massively in minutes risk, generally started the season on the bench. However, when you're in that kind of form, I think you keep getting played. So I would be expecting him to start the next few weeks. And to be honest, he's not a bad shout for a João Pedro. Like, João Pedro has been massively disappointing. And maybe I'm actively looking at potentially doing that in my team and getting him in. Obviously, the Saka conundrum is a really big one. Where you go to from there, that's obviously my team currently, as you can see. I'm not sure is the answer of where I go from Saka. Ideally, I'd like to hold an extra day, but if he drops to 10.4 today, I'm going to lose the selling price down to 10.2, and I'd rather get it at 10.3. So look, let me know in the comments if I missed anyone else out that you think should have been on this week's differentials video. That's been FPL Unit. Make sure you drop us a like, press a subscribe as well, and I'll see you tomorrow for a wildcard draft / transfer tips for game week 18. There we go. Mate, the football's been coming hard and fast. My voice needs a rest. See you later.